Hello everyone, I'm Aaron, the manager of Cleethorpes Dragons in GBR Division 2, and today I'm going to talk about player personalities. There isn't going to be a huge amount going on the screen on this video, it's mostly just going to be me yapping on. Now, player personalities are massively underestimated by so many managers who just look at the strength rating on players and often overlook what is a really key aspect of how much a player will contribute on the pitch. Some of the personalities give a bonus of up to 10% on match ratings, which is huge when you think about it. If you've got an 8.0 strength player with a 10% match rating, he's literally giving you the same match rating as an 8.8 player without a bonus personality. So, firstly, I'll just mention a little bit about goalkeepers. Goalkeepers don't get yellow and red cards in Goal United, so the personalities that give them a bonus to match ratings in games, but also have a penalty of increasing the chance of fouls or getting sent off for the keeper, so that's basically aggressive or spirited. Those penalties don't really affect the goalkeeper, so it's just all the benefits. So those are really good personalities to go for in a goalkeeper. That being said, a goalkeeper gets no bonus whatsoever from the inflexible personality. So basically, I'm just going to go through all the personalities in reverse order of how good I think they are as far as contributing on the pitch is concerned. So, in 12th we have, is it 12th or 12th we have our introverted, so which gets a bonus during low effort games and a penalty in high effort games. Now, considering when you want to win matches you tend to play at higher effort, having these guys on the pitch just seems crazy. I can't really think of a situation where I would actually ever want one of these guys on the pitch, because you don't really play low effort when you want to win a game. So, there we go. Next, ambitious. So, he loses less energy, gains more experience, but his form goes down after missing competitive games. Now, the losing less energy and gaining more experience are nice little perks. However, the fact that he loses form, which it has a huge effect on a player's match rating when he starts missing competitive games, is just too much of a drawback. There are two nice little perks, but they don't add a huge amount on the pitch, and the drawback does potentially take quite a lot away from his performances. So, yeah, that's why ambitious is getting such a low rating. In at 10th we have reliable, which basically gets low form fluctuations and doesn't have a drawback. Now, low form fluctuations is okay, I suppose, but if your form is low and you want to get it up, it's going to be a drawback at that point. Maintaining form is really important on your players, but generally it's something you do for your whole squad at once. So one player managing to maintain his form at its peak is not really going to save you a huge amount of effort. So that's why the reliable gets stuck there. Next we have popular, which slightly increases attendances, slightly increases team spirit, but has no drawback. Now, the slightly increases attendances is nice, but this personality is basically made it up this far because of the increase in team spirit, as this is a small factor in the match engine. Now it's only a slight increase, so the difference in match ratings are not going to be anything huge, but it's a small positive that comes with a little bonus hatched onto it, and it's got no drawbacks whatsoever, so you can't really argue with it. In at 8th we have diligent, which has increased training efficiency at the cost of slower energy regeneration. Now, the benefit here is purely from having more efficient training, so having higher stats, being a higher strength player over one that's not diligent. The drawback of regenerating energy slower can, however, have an effect on performances if it's not recovered by the next game. Basically, playing at the higher efforts requires you to have a certain amount of energy, otherwise you will not be playing at full efficiency. So if the energy is not recovered by the next game, then you probably are going to get a penalty on your match performance. The training bonus from Diligent is really overvalued by the Goal United community generally as well. Once you get to much higher strength teams, it's much better to have a slightly lower strength player with a personality that gives a bonus to match ratings than it is to have a Diligent player. So yeah. Next we have Fair, which basically has a reduced chance of causing fouls. Now I tend to find that fair players tend to get about half the number of red cards of an average personality that has no effect on its number of fouls created. So now that it's obviously not a direct match bonus rating increase for the player, but losing a player to a red card is devastating in a game. So Fair comes here as it's not a bad bonus and it's just got no drawback whatsoever, so that's why I made it this far up the list. In at 6 we have Charismatic, which gets a bonus of captain with no drawbacks. Basically you need one in your team to be a captain and it gives a bonus to your whole squad. I'm not sure if recent evidence has changes to the effectiveness of a Charismatic captain, as I'm increasingly seeing teams no longer using them, and I mean teams like the best teams in the world. However, I've not seen evidence to the otherwise, and so as far as I'm concerned I'll continue using a Charismatic captain in my team until evidence shows otherwise. Now, next we have Flexible. Flexible players get only like a small penalty for changing to positions that they're not training on, and they get no penalty for the personality generally as well. So if I take my Flexible player, he's currently a winger, and so I can move him anywhere on the wing, put him in defence, put him midfield, and he's fine with it. Put him up front and he starts to moan a little bit, or anywhere that I put him on his weak foot he moans a little bit, but generally he can go pretty much almost anywhere on the pitch without having a penalty. Now, although that's not a direct matching rating increase, because he's not getting the negatives that other players would be, and if you've got players training in different positions, then they can just be useful just to cover areas of the pitch. And also in Goal United Next, the blog that they're bringing out seems to suggest that Flexible could be getting a positional buff as well, so we'll have to see when it comes out, but for now just useful to cover the positions to stop any of your players who might have malices from getting any penalties. So right, in at 4th we have Spirited. Spirited gets a 10% match bonus when playing at home, but with the drawback of increasing the chance of getting red cards. Now, a 10% match bonus is absolutely huge. Like I said earlier, when you're getting this bonus, you are basically playing as a player with 10% higher strength. Spirited players, however, do have the drawback of increasing the chance of getting red cards, and they actually get almost twice as many red cards as a regular personality player. But it is still a very strong personality that should be in most squads. And into the top 3, and we have Confident. Right, Confident gives a 10% match bonus on all away matches, makes a better penalty kick taker, and does not have a drawback at all. So basically it's just very solid. I actually prefer the bonus being in away games over Spirited's at home games anyway, and then you've got no drawbacks going with this as well, so there's no complaints at all. You're pretty solid with Confident players, so stack up on them. In at number 2 we have Aggressive. Aggressive gets a bonus for higher effort games, a penalty for low effort games, and also an increased number of fouls generally. Now the bonus is dependent on the amount of effort you put into your games, but at 150% effort it's similar to that of Confident and Spirited players, except of course you get the bonus whatever game you are playing, whether it's home or away. Now it has a drawback to getting a match rating penalty when you're playing at low effort, but you probably won't ever play a game at low effort, you care about winning anyway. It also has an increased number of fouls, and aggressive has a similar number of red cards to spirited players, about twice the average personality. That being said, the ability to get a match bonus every game just gives it the edge over confident players, despite that negative drawback of the extra red cards. Now, that of course means our number one is Inflexible. Inflexible gets a bonus whenever it's in its main position, but has a stronger malice in positions away from its main position. So if I take my Inflexible player, you will see he drops like a stone on his position suitability, but on his main position, as long as he sticks right in the middle of that circle, he is absolutely fine, and he will get a benefit from playing there, whether it be a home or away. Now, because he gets such a malice from being away from the main position, you can't just fill a squad up with Inflexible players, but you can quite easily put one in the middle of your defence, one in the middle of midfield, one in the middle of strikers, and whatever Inflexible wingers you want to go for. So that's pretty much my overview of the player personalities, which get more and more important as you get to the higher and higher strengths. Because basically the higher strength you get, the higher these bonuses become, because they're a percentage of the player's strength. So at 2.2 it's going to give you a 0.2 bonus, but at 9.0 it's going to give you a 9.0 bonus, a 0.9 bonus. It's making it to equivalent to a 9.9. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and maybe learned something, especially when it comes to what to look for when buying players that will play in your first team in the future. Feel free to subscribe if you want to keep updated on any new videos that get released, and thank you and goodbye, and see you next time.